Here's yet another guide on how to lose weight, you fatty. I have had abs for God knows how long now. It's simply because I've done a few things that got me to lose the fat and keep it off. The first thing I did was eat a high protein diet. I personally think you should try build muscle while you are trying to lose the fat. But nonetheless, protein is not just good for muscle building. It is also very good at keeping you full up and not wanting to go and binge on all the ultra processed foods. If you can get a moderately high amount of protein in every single day, around 0.7 to 1 grams per pound of body weight, and try space this protein in around 3 to 6 meals a day, you won't just build muscle if you're training, but you will also be full up throughout the whole day and are likely going to end up in a slight calorie deficit because you're just eating less. Focus on getting the lean protein sources in your diet from meats such as beef, chicken, fish, whatever. Furthermore, getting the protein in from higher quality protein sources like the meats is better than getting them from protein bars, protein pancakes, whatever else like that. Now, I think you should also be training while you're trying to lose weight, because if you lose a lot of weight and you haven't been training, you start to look just really skinny and quite sickly looking instead of looking, like a jacked superhero. But this is simply on fat loss. Now, the second thing I think you should do is track your calories. Now, we spoke about just getting a high protein diet in. That's fine, easy. Now, I need you to start tracking your calories because everything just becomes so much easier when it comes to fat loss when you know what you're eating. When you're in the dark, you're blind, you can't see the calories, where they're coming from. When you can't see, the exact thing you're eating, the exact calories in what you're eating, then you don't know if you're in a calorie deficit or not. Sure, you can go off, some cues like, oh, you feel hungry or stuff like that. But I want you to know exactly if you're in a calorie deficit or not. So I just need you to really quickly find out your calorie maintenance and go 300 to 500 calories under it. That's it. Don't go any more because it's just not sustainable over time. Try to lose, 0.5 to a pound of body weight per week. That is a pretty good level of cutting, I'd say. And don't be in a fat loss phase for too long. I recommend maybe 10 to 12 weeks. Really try cut down. And once you've gone through 10 to 12 weeks of weight loss and you're still not happy with where you're at, just take a break, take a few weeks, go into a calorie maintenance, eat a bit more food, not eating all the junk foods. I just mean eat a bit more food so there's less diet exhaustion, so you don't feel as if you're starving yourself. And then when you're ready, when you've been in your maintenance for a few weeks, whatever, when you're ready, you just get back to losing the weight again. I think you should have these little breaks in your cutting phases where you're losing the fat, just because the diet exhaustion becomes so high that you genuinely might just quit the diet and go to eat all of the junk foods because you haven't dealt with that diet exhaustion. When you're in your maintenance calories, that diet exhaustion is a lot lower. So take diet breaks while you're doing this. Also a very good tip. So we need to be tracking your calories. So this is really simple. Everyone thinks it's so difficult to track your calories. It's so easy. Literally everything you eat nowadays has calories on it. Like, genuinely, go look at a food. Obviously, if there's just a one raw potato in your cupboard, it's a little bit more difficult. But even then, if there's foods that don't exactly say the calories, just go to Google, ask ChatGPT, what is the average calories in a raw potato, for example, or a potato? Then you just overestimate. So say it will usually give a range, depending on how big it is. It will say, 150 to 250 calories. What you do is you just overestimate. That's what I did the whole time I was cutting, because I'd rather overestimate and ensure I'm in the calorie deficit rather than overestimate and not know if I'm in my calorie deficit and losing weight. So for foods like that, just use a bit of intuition. You'll learn over time how many calories are in foods, but ask ChatGPT, it will tell you a range, overestimate. But for most of the foods you're going to eat, they're going to come in packages and they're going to say the calories. Like, it will say per 100 grams, this many calories. You don't even need to necessarily weigh your food. This whole time I've been losing weight, or when I lost all the weight, I didn't weigh any of my foods. I just used my intuition. If there's a pack of 10 chicken breasts and it's 1,000 grams overall and it's 150 calories per 100 grams, I'm just going to say one chicken breast is 150 calories. Just a disclaimer, my full aesthetic body course is in the link in the description. It teaches you exactly how to build an aesthetic body and get in the best shape of your life. Go check it out, link in the description. Don't be too focused on getting it exactly correct. If you don't know, it's better to just overestimate. Simple as that. Another thing I need you to do is avoid the ultra processed, highly palatable junk foods for as long as possible. Let me explain why. You can at times have these junk foods, I understand. But when you're in a fat loss phase and you are having these foods, the problem is they don't fill you up at all. And so if you had half your calories for the day just came from junk foods, you would end up being literally starving because they don't fill you up at all. They're usually not that high in protein and they taste so good you want more and more and more. But when you eat these good whole foods that are quite bland tasting and not, really amazing to eat and taste so good, you feel full up, you don't really want any more, and you don't, ruin all your progress because you go and eat loads of it. You have it, you feel full, you continue with your day. But when you incorporate these junk foods too often, you have them, you don't feel full up, so you're more likely to go and eat again in that day. And they kind of give you that taste of what life could be like. How good it tastes. You just want more and more and more. And, it just ruins your progress. For so long, I tried to incorporate quite a bit of junk food into my diet, but it just messed me up because it would mean that I would just feel hungrier throughout the day and my life was more miserable. That 20-30 seconds of pleasure of eating a donut, sure, it's nice, but later in the day you're going to be starving because you just spent half your calories on a few donuts that have not felt, not left you satiated in any way. Another thing I need you to be doing is just remove any ideas on what you think you need to do for cardio when it comes to fat loss. Just get it out of your head now. You don't need to do any cardio for fat loss. Cardio isn't actually that good for fat loss, really. It doesn't actually burn that many calories. What you should do instead, obviously, because we need to be a bit active, is just set a step goal. Buy a Fitbit, whatever, track it with your phone, get 10k steps in every single day. Make that a priority in your day. You get them 10k steps in. By the end of the night, when you go to bed, 10k steps done. If that is the only thing you do, that is completely fine. You can lose all the weight you've ever wanted to. And it's just more sustainable long term. Doing these high intensity cardio sessions, you're not going to stick to it. I'm telling you, I've done both. I've done the step goal and I've done the cardio for, how I burn my calories. I stuck to the steps rather than the cardio because just walking, it's really easy. It's actually quite relaxing going for a nice walk, putting some music in, going for a walk around, your local park, whatever, getting your steps in. It's quite nice. Doing that cardio that whole time, it relies on discipline. You feel terrible, you feel exhausted. And even after, you usually feel more hungry and you're more likely to go and eat. So yeah, try focus on getting steps in rather than this high intensity cardio that no one can really stick to long term. It's good for your cardiovascular health. You probably should be doing it for your cardiovascular health. But for fat loss, you don't need to be doing cardio. Just a disclaimer, my full aesthetic body course is in the link in the description. It teaches you exactly how to build an aesthetic body and get in the best shape of your life. Go check it out, link in the description. What are you doing still here? Go check it out, link in the description.